guys, welcome back to another chat. It's your girl B. If you are new here, welcome. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss any future videos like this. So leave me a comment below because I love meeting my new subscribers. Today's video is all about things that I wish I knew in my early 20s, but a lot of these things still help me out even in my 30s, so it could possibly help you out even in your 40s or 50s. I'm not going to go in any particular order, but the first topic I'm going to be speaking on is friendships, and I'm going to basically tell you like some pros and cons. I hated the fact that in my early 20s I would allow so many friendships to pick me. I never really seek friends. I was always comfortable very much so with being by myself, but I did like the idea of having people to go out and have a good time with. You're in your early 20s, you don't have much responsibilities. You want people that you can have fun with, and I wish I would have asked more questions for those particular friends who I realized played no major part, no major role into my life. That's going to happen. Sometimes everybody is not going to be on the same page as you, but I don't really want people that aren't on the same page as me in my life. So that was one of the major mistakes that I made in my early 20s by making friendships off of just maybe looks or me just being super welcoming and people finding a way to leech onto me when I really didn't necessarily want to be their friend, but I allowed them to make a friendship with me. I was willing to be friends with anybody, and that was a really big mistake. I'm not saying don't be welcoming whatsoever. You can be very much so welcoming, but you gotta watch who you allow to pour into your cup. I was allowing so many different friend groups, so many different people to pour into my cup. My cup was overflowing with drama, with hate, with so many different things, and I kept on waiting for these people to treat me better when I should have known all along they just weren't never meant to be my friends. I'm talking about friends who only wanted to go out with me when they needed a ride, friends who only wanted to ask me what I was doing on Friday because they wanted their hair done and things like that, or just friends who I just simply didn't fit in with. They might have wanted to be friends with me because they felt like we looked the same, but at the same time we just didn't have the same interests. We didn't have a lot of the same characteristics. I am very sweet. I am very kind. I do not like to look down on people, and I would meet girls who were like the it girls, or thought they were like it girls, I guess you can say. They could be very mean. They could be very cool. They were very stuck up. I'm extremely down to earth. So I wanted people around me who were the same, but I never actually seeked those things. Like I pretty much just let people fall into my lap, and that was a big mistake. So that's why I say allowing my friends to pick me was a big mistake. If I had any advice when it comes to choosing your friends, you should choose your friends and choose your friends wisely. Another thing I feel like was a major mistake of mine in my early 20s was trying to fit in. I was still trying to figure myself out. Even though I was somewhat confident in who I was at that time, I still felt like I would try to adapt in certain environments instead of just standing out and being who I was. Like if my friends were out turning up, I felt the need to be out turning up too, and I very much so just would rather stay home and chill. I wanted to fit in. Everyone's taking shots, and I found myself taking shots when I would rather just be doing something completely different. I would find myself trying to fit in. I know a lot of us won't admit to that, but just think about it. How often do you do what you want to do, or do you just go with the crowd? Sometimes it's easier to say that you're not a follower, but when you really take a deep look at the picture, then sometimes you realize that you are actually just being a follower, because these aren't things that you wanted to do. These were things that your friends wanted to do, and in order to be with your friends, you went along with it, and you were just being a follower. Because if you were a leader, you would have sat home and did what you really wanted to do. So that's why I say sometimes we are being followers without even knowing. We are also trying to fit in without even knowing. If it's something that you don't want to do, or if you're not interested in it, start to conversations. Let's start to normalize conversations with friends. What are your interests? And start telling people what you're interested in. Before you guys even consider that a friendship, you can very much so see from the beginning, wow, we have nothing in common after having this conversation. This is not a friendship that I actually want to pursue. So take the time out and just ask questions rather than, hey girl, you know, when you get that phone call, you wanted to go to the club and there you're out all night and you really wanted to get up and make that yoga class in the morning. I would very much so rather take that yoga class in the morning and tell that friend like, hey, I'm going to bed at 9, and do something that was more interesting to me than going out and partying in places that I really didn't want to be in. Yeah, I definitely would say that that was a major mistake of mine, trying to fit in, being a people pleaser, not saying no to things. It's okay to say no to things. It's okay to say I'm fine with missing that party, ending the night the way that you really want to. Definitely stand up for yourself, stick to your guns, don't try to fit in. You definitely want to attract the right friends, and remember, being yourself is the most attractive quality about yourself. You can portray to be anything in the world, but to be yourself is so much easier, and you want to attract the right people. When you are being yourself, you will attract the right people. Being your authentic self, and watch how you become a magnet to the people who are similar to you. You don't want people to be able to approach you and mold you into what they want to be. You want to just really just be yourself, and if they don't like it, then they'll just leave you alone, or you'll leave them alone. You're going to stand on that. So that was one of the things that I wish I did in my early 20s. Okay, we definitely have to talk about this one, and that is dating mistakes that I made. My number one thing is not dating enough. Oh my goodness, I cannot stress to you young girls. Oh my gosh, why? Why do we do it? Why do we so quick to put titles on everything when we are in our early 20s? Do you really know what it is to date? I didn't really know what it was to date. I pretty much allow guys, again, to just pick me, to approach me, and I can have the smallest bit of interest in them, and then boom, I'm their girlfriend, and I'm tied down, and I'm committed to these guys. Why was I being so faithful to these people who I didn't really have any real commitment to? They weren't providing anything. Why was I making myself committed to these men and limiting myself to meeting other potential men who could potentially be husbands, when these guys, half the time we can kind of see this isn't someone I'm gonna be with in the future. Everyone that you date is not going to be your husband, don't get me wrong, but why did they have to even be your boyfriend? Because now that you made them a boyfriend, I feel like when you use the word boyfriend, it also means I'm in a committed relationship, so I can't date anyone else. When you use that word, this is my boyfriend, okay, it's just me and you. We are not leaving the door open to meeting other people. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I made, was just not simply dating enough. I really wish I wouldn't allow titles. I don't think that titles are necessary. I feel as though people can get to know each other. You can spend money. Sometimes you are fellas or females, you might have to spend a little bit of money to get to know people, going out on dates and stuff like that. He might have to spend a little bit of money on you, but that does not mean that he has to be your man because he spent a couple dollars on you. You're worth a couple dollars. And keep in mind that if they start pressuring you to be their girlfriend, if they feel like you have to make a decision, you do not have to make a decision. Do not let men pressure you into anything because they took you on a few dates. You were going to eat anyway. Don't let them pressure you into putting a title on you because they pay for your hair and your nails to get done. You were going to get your hair and nails done anyway. And if you can't pay for your dinner, if you can't take yourself out or just simply eat at home, then you just don't need to be dating right now anyway, because you got some other things that you need to be figuring out. So don't let the little things like that pressure you into a relationship, because I will find myself in relationships simply because, oh, he paid for my dinner a few times and we had a good time out, but he didn't really necessarily need to be my man. And when I say dating, I do not mean that, you have to be sleeping with these men. Dating does not require sleeping with them. So I love that. A lot of people feel like, oh, you're dating multiple men, so that means you're sleeping with them. No, you're not. You don't have to sleep with any of them. You don't have to kiss any of them. You don't owe them anything. You're just simply just dating. You could very much so go on a date in the morning and then later on that night, and you can be on another date with someone else, and that does not mean that you're a hoe. That just simply means that you are testing the waters. You are seeing what different options out there that you might want to take. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Take your time. Get to know different people. Stop finding the first guy that blinks his eye at you at your job or at your college or in your neighborhood. Broaden your horizons. See what else is out there. Be willing to meet different people. Be safe, but of course, just be willing to meet different people and exploring different personalities. Just be a lot more open, because I feel like I was a lot more closed-minded and I never thought outside the box. I could actually have dated him and him. It's just dating. It's no commitment there. We're just dating. I just wish I would have dated a lot more. I just can't stress that enough. Another major dating mistake I made in the past was not letting men know what I expected. It is so important to just be upfront and let people know what it is you expect, what it is that you're willing to do in return. I'm in a committed relationship with you. This is how I'm going to show up, and this is how I expect for you to show up. I would be in relationships and I wouldn't really voice exactly what it was that I wanted. I feel like that was also a major setback, not being able to voice what I really wanted. I mean, I was able to, but I just didn't. I was pretty much like more timid and allowed men to like lead the way. But it is so important to let men know like whatever it is that you expect, set the bar, put your standards out there, let them know what they are, and if they can't meet those standards, then let them go. But don't be afraid to speak up for yourself and let a man know how you want it to be, how you want to be treated, and see if you guys have like a connection there. All right, the next thing I want to talk about are some red flags. Ladies, we would ignore red flags. Stop ignoring them red flags. Those late night calls, you don't hear from him all day. That is a red flag. What is he doing all day? He didn't get a lunch break. Because I know when men want you, they make time for you. And I would turn a blind eye to things like that when I was younger. But that is, all bets are off now. If I don't hear from you all day, then don't hear from me at all that day. You will not hear from me. And then if you wake me up in the middle of the night and I didn't hear from you, I'm definitely going to check it. You cannot call me at any time of the night. I'm not that girl. So those are things that you should definitely pay attention to. If a guy is not calling you all day, but at the end of the night he calling you, is very much giving booty calls. So you definitely don't want to take those phone calls. You definitely want to check that straight from the door. Let them know this is not that. And even if he is that kind of guy, it may be a red flag that maybe this isn't somebody that you even wanted to pursue, because most of the time a man who really wants you, he's not going to wait to the end of the night to call you. So that's definitely a red flag. Also, if someone you've been dating for a while and they don't bring you around their family, that's a red flag. If you don't know their family or their friends, that's a red flag. You could very much so be a side piece. So definitely think about that and get to know a person. Sometimes when you get to know a person on a more serious level, like their family, their friends, you could kind of see like how they move and how they operate. But if you never meet them, then it could be a big reason behind that, because everybody has some sort of family or friends. In some case, you have to have somebody. And if you never meet their people, then it could be very much so hiding something. And again, them not making you a priority. Making you a priority is so important. You want a man to put his best foot forward. I feel like everyone in the beginning put their best foot forward. If he can't make you a priority in the beginning of your dating, then what do you expect you're going to get later down the line? You can't expect for him to give you 100% later down the line when he's already only giving you like 20%. If he can't make you a priority, the phone calls or just making an effort to take you out, making an effort to get to know you on a serious level, then that is a major red flag. Another major red flag when you're getting to know someone is someone who always keeps their phone turned down. I would go on dates with guys and I would notice that their phone would be flipped down. I have not met one guy who keeps their phone flipped down that was not cheating, that either they were cheating or they had someone else that they were afraid might call, and that phone number or that picture or whatever was going to pop up and you would see it. So definitely pay attention to those guys who phones are flipped down and the ones who take their phone every time they leave out the room. That is a red flag. He is hiding something. Another red flag, and I hope you guys don't take this the wrong way, but I feel as though when a man takes you out, he should be paying. You guys should not be splitting the bill, and he definitely should be able to tip. It's a red flag to me if he needs you to pay half the bill, or if he needs you to pay, for the tip. I feel like that is a major red flag. When a guy takes you out, he should very much so make you feel as though he was able to provide for you, at least for that day. And if he's not able to provide a meal for that day, then he probably won't be able to provide for you later down the line. So he probably should just get himself together and come back for you when he's ready, because he clearly doesn't have the money to be dating you right now, because he didn't even have the money for dinner. I do feel as though I would like for a man to provide, and it is okay to want someone that can provide for you even in your early 20s. Even if he's not fully established, he should definitely be able to provide something simple as a nice dinner out. So yeah, don't lower your standards, girl. That is a red flag. And last but not least, another red flag to me is a guy who does not want to make you feel special. If a guy doesn't make you feel special right away, then he's definitely not going to make you feel special later down the line. I feel like guys do really cheesy things, and I appreciate those cheesy moments because, it just shows how he really feels about you and how he cares about you. So if he's not making a fool of himself, then that is definitely a red flag, because I feel as though any guy who really has major interest in you, they kind of, do like little cute little things, like they want to hold your hand, they want to make sure you're on the right side of the sidewalk, they want to open the door for you, they really just want to impress you. And if a guy just feels though like, oh, I don't want to hold your hand, and that's just not me, and just do little things for you to make you feel like, just special. If he's not willing to make you feel special, then that's definitely a red flag. If he thinks he's too cool to do certain things to make you feel special and to go a little bit above and beyond, that is a red flag. He's probably not going to be very affectionate later. So if that's something that you're into and he can't do those things, those little things right now, if he's not proud to be affectionate with you, maybe in public now, then you know that it's going to be a problem later down the line. So if that's something that you like, if you want someone who is proud to be out with you and to show that, you don't want somebody who's lingering behind you and letting you walk ahead. You want someone who's going to walk side by side with you, or someone who's going to hold your hand and lead the way. Make that be known. But if he's not that guy, if he said, oh, I don't like holding hands in public, or I don't like kissing in public, and that's something that you want to do, then please don't ignore that red flag. And last but not least, when it comes to the red flags with men, is also a guy with bad hygiene. Ladies, if you are out with a guy and he does not smell clean, he does not smell fresh, I feel as though when you're going on a date, you take the time out to really put care into your appearance. And if he's showing up and his clothes are wrinkled and he's stinky, then can you imagine what he's going to be like later down the line? So don't ignore that. Don't say, oh, maybe he just didn't have time, he was rushing. No, he will make time. Just like you took time out to do your hair, your nails, and all of that. Pay attention to those little things. I'm not saying that, a guy should show up and like a freaking suit on your first date, but if he doesn't even have clean clothes on, that says a lot about him. So yeah, that's definitely a red flag. All right, now let's move along. Another thing I wish I would have did different in my 20s was how I handled my money. I didn't have much knowledge back then in my early 20s on what I should invest in, or even about how to really establish credit. That was something that I learned in my mid 20s, but if I would have known what I know now in my early 20s, then I could have established so much more by the time I hit 25, 30. Even if you can't afford to take classes, then you can simply use free resources like the internet just to figure out like good investments or how to establish credit. You definitely want to establish credit, because I was one of those people who didn't have any credit, and no credit is bad credit. I wish I was established on credit. And once I started applying for credit cards, I would pretty much run them up on stupid things like pretty much most of us do, clothes, things that really held no value. You can simply just use your credit cards for something simple as groceries, because you always going to have enough money to buy groceries. Like pretty much that's like one of the major things that you pretty much buy every time you get paid. So whatever amount of money that you were going to use for groceries, you can just pay for it on your credit card and then set that money aside so that you can make sure that you make those monthly payments every month, or even like use it for gas, stuff like that. So that was something that I definitely wish that I would have did early on in my 20s, just figuring out how to invest in my money, how to save my money. But if nothing else, if you don't know how to do any of those things, if you are working, save any amount of money that you can. It could be something as simple as $5. Have it taken straight out from your check, put directly into a savings account, and then also have an extra additional savings account that you actually have to go to and put money into each and every month, so that you can teach yourself how to save on your own as well. Having two savings accounts is so important. Trust me, $5, $10, you will not miss it. And that was something that I really wish I would have did early on, was just teaching myself how to save money. If nothing else, if you have no knowledge of anything when it comes to like investing, like I said, then simply just save your money. Just save your money, because trust me, there's always going to be a rainy day. You're always going to need a place to live. You're always going to need a way of getting around. So those are things that you can use later in life, when you want to make a major purchase, especially as a house. You're going to need things once you buy that house, or that down payment for the house. Like, it's so expensive to buy a house nowadays. So yeah, any little bit of money, because you're going to waste so much money in your 20s. That's normally at a time when we're just getting jobs, we don't have much responsibility, we're just figuring things out. So we typically waste a lot of money. And yeah, just don't be like me. Save your money. Any little amount of money is better than no amount of money. So yeah, I definitely wish I would save money. Another thing I wish I would have done different was just investing in a craft. I was very crafty. I'm just a very crafty person. And I noticed now, like the young girls, they have so many different talents. Back then, social media wasn't as big as it is now, but it was around. And I feel like now you can really maximize so much with social media. It's easier to put yourself out there because of social media. So if you have like a craft, invest in your craft. Take in like little bits of money. If you are into, let's say, lashes, take a lash class, become a lash tech. If you're into makeup, try to become like a makeup artist. Just investing in whatever craft you're into. It could even be something as simple as like flowers. You could just be a girl who's into flowers. That could also work for you too. You can take a class to become a florist. Just figuring out what work for you, what interest you're in, and however it can work for you, let it work for you. I'm just naming a few that come to mind that I knew that I was pretty good at. Like I could do certain things, but I never perfected those crafts. So if you are good at those things, then be the best, be the best at it and let it work for you. And lastly, I'm just going to bottle these two things into one, and that is your mental and physical health. I wish I would have took care of myself a lot more physically in my early 20s. I noticed that I get a little lazy around like high school, things start to slow down, but naturally you still have a lot of energy because you're still young. I wish I would have just kept up with things like physically, ran track a little bit more, went out for jogging. I wish I would have took yoga classes and stay active. The older you get, your body is just like constantly changing. The things that you could find yourself doing so easily when you were younger, it becomes like so much harder as the older you get. So I wish I would have stayed a lot more active and been a lot more physical from my early 20s, making that part of my agenda. I'm not saying that it's too late. It's never too late to, work on your physical appearance. If you start out young and you make it part of your agenda, then it would just become like a natural habit. I wish I would have started those good habits early on. And another thing, your mental health. So many things mess with our mental health and we ignore different things. Like there's so much going on. Like I said, for one, the social media thing now. And I noticed like a lot of us ignore our mental health. And sometimes just doing something as simple as like journaling. When you went out that night, like how did it make you feel? When you hung with these friends, how did it make you feel? When you ate this, how did it make you feel? How does it feel waking up and going to this job, spending your money? Like just journaling different things so that you can go back and read those things and see how you felt then. And then you can also see where you are and how you grew. Getting in tune with your mental health, doing meditation, having like self-care, put those things into practice. Watch how it makes you feel a lot better mentally and physically. If you start those things very young, then like again, it will just become repetitive to you. You'll constantly do these things and it'll just make you feel better inside. Don't ignore those little things. Take the little bit of time out for yourself to just really get in tune with yourself and figure out what it is that can make you feel better. Because I noticed that I never actually took the time out, wrote down what I did and what I spent. So sometimes if you start to look back, you'll be like, hey, you know what? Maybe this is why I'm starting to feel this way. If I actually journaled these things, if I actually see where my money went, then I wouldn't be so stressed out because I started journaling these things. And then once you start journaling, you can go back and read it. Then you'll see what you can do to work on and make those habits better and make your mental health a lot better. But yeah, just think about that. Like, how often do you check in on you? How often do you sit back and ask yourself, I want to do this to make me happy. When I do this, when I do these things, it makes me happy. And when I sit down and I meditate, I feel like I'm relieving stress. And how often do you take out the time to do little things to really pamper yourself, not just be so much like on the go? When you do these things such as yoga, like I was saying earlier with the dating and friendship thing, when you start taking like little classes and stuff, you'd be surprised you can actually meet a lot of people who have a lot of things in common for you, who has a lot of things in common as you do. And they could be a potential bestie, or they could be your future man. You never know. You know that you guys have something in common because you are taking that class. So yeah, you never know where things can go. So I wish I would have just did little things like that, just checking in on my mental health and going places that really would help me relieve stress, like taking a yoga class, meditation, taking a cycle bar class. I don't know, just getting out there and doing fun things. And that's what I'm actually challenging myself to do now. So like I said, this video isn't just for girls in their early 20s. This video can very much so be helpful to someone in their 50s. And that was pretty much it for today. I feel horrible, you guys. Sorry that I sound so stuffy throughout this video. We'll definitely do more chit chats like this. Like I said, said, this is our little corner. This is our little hangout spot for now on. You can check back every week for a new video. And I will see you guys next time. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Always comment below. Let me know how you feel about this content. I just like talking to you guys. I just appreciate you guys tuning in. Yeah, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, guys.